Hello there, gentle people. Thank you for joining me for another video. And I hope everything is going well on your end of the planet. This year has been, the year just started and it's already been hectic for me. Just this first quarter alone is like, there's so much going on. It just makes absolutely no sense. But I brought this on myself. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys about project management today. If you listened to the last podcast episode that I did, I was covering pretty much creative project management and how to set up different systems, implement different strategies so that 2016 would be this tremendously creatively productive year for you. And if you haven't listened to the podcast episode as yet, definitely check it out. I will put a link in the description box for you below. All right, so I am going to show you last year I had, and you're going to get a good sense of it now, I had everything that I needed to make note of and plan and strategize and all that good stuff. It was going on in all of these. All right, I started out the year with a planner, a little, one of those little planners that you can just buy from the store, and it was a tiny little thing. It was just an absolute disaster. It did not work well for me, and I tried every year. I try to find a planner that will work for me, and there's never been anything that I really like, that I dig, that works well, because you're limited to the amount of lines that you can use. It's not a good thing, especially for a creative person that has just a bunch of different things going on. Your days aren't like these little standard boxes. It just doesn't work like that. So I've had this mishmash every year. It's the same thing. So to give you an idea, this one here, and I did the cover for that one, this one is where I do my morning pages, and this was the third one I did morning pages in since last year. So I closed out the year. Well, actually I have a couple more pages left, so they should be done by the end of the month though. So this was the last of the morning pages journals that I started last year. So there's that. And this one is somewhat of, I call it kind of like a creativity journal. My son and I, we do this thing where it's like, okay, every single day you have to come up with 10 creative ideas. And that's what we kind of do in this journal. And sometimes he'll just throw some like crazy drawings in there. Those are some drawings that my son did, and these are all freehand. So he likes this show, I think it's called Futurama. So he did these drawings in there. So this is just like a little, code journal that the two of us share for creativity things. And if you have a kid, or, even if you don't have a kid and, you have a partner or a husband or a boyfriend or whatever the situation is, maybe you can implement something like this where you both work on putting creative ideas in a particular journal. We had this going on. I also had this little journal here, and I bought this one in China, which says, "We sat down in the grass by the Eiffel Tower." Don't ask me why they were selling that in China with my little fat Buddha on the back. This was a sticker I actually peeled off of a bottle of green tea when we were in China and stuck it here. And this is where all the random stuff goes. Anything that just comes to the top of my brain. And where I kept this particular journal is by the side of my bed, because what happens is a lot of times throughout the night I'll get ideas, or I wake up in the morning and I have a particular idea in my head and I need to jot it down. To give you an example, well, I didn't put this example in the book because this book is done, but the other night I was falling asleep and like these words kept tumbling around in my head, and I was like trying to fall asleep and then they just wouldn't stop. And then I kind of like, I paid attention to them and I was like, wait, hold on, that kind of sounds like a poem. So I reached for this, totally forgetting that it was full, so I couldn't write in this. So I reached for my telephone, and I just basically, I was literally half sleeping when I typed out everything in the telephone, and I literally, the phone fell out of my hand. I was just that tired. And then when I woke up in the morning and opened the phone and looked at the notes, I was like, oh my goodness, that was actually a poem. And it just kept nagging me before I fell asleep, and I had this feeling like, you need to write this down, you need to write this down. And that is one of the things that I've been talking about since the very beginning, that, you know, creativity is energy that needs to express itself through you, and sometimes you pretty much don't even have any control over it. So whatever was trying to come through the ether, it just kept nagging me until I had to get it done, because if I had fallen asleep, by the next morning, I can guarantee I wouldn't have remembered it. And that's why I always keep a journal by the side of my bed. And this is just for the ideas that come either when you're falling asleep at night or you just wake up in the morning. So there's that. And I had this one. And I do this weird thing where it's something that I've been doing since I was a kid. I don't know why. I always start writing from the back of a journal and then I move forward. It's just a weird, odd, quirky thing that I do. But what this one was, anytime I read a book that had some interesting notes and I wanted to pull them from the margins of the book and put them into something that I could actually hold on to, like a little compendium, that was pretty much what happened with this particular journal. So this one was just basically notes from different books that I read throughout the course of the year. And then this one here, this one was actually, I bought this one at the airport in New York at JFK, and it's a Muji notebook. And Muji, I've talked about the Muji brand before. It's this brand from Japan, and I really love their design aesthetic. So, you know, like I said, I always start from the back of the book. It's just a weird thing that I do. But what actually went into this one were ideas for podcast episodes. So the planning of my podcast pretty much went into this book here. So while I was actually recording the podcast, I would always have this open. Then I'd be, you know, making sure to look and check my notes as I was doing my recording. So this is my little podcast book. All right. And then this little one, which I won't even open because I would just totally embarrass myself. This one was my food intake pretty much, and you know, can you see it still look kind of new because I totally fell off with that. So it will be going into this year as well. But gentle people, here's the deal. Oh, and I also I have this mouse pad as well, and I don't use a mouse really. So what I liked it for was the fact that it had all the days of the week broken down in this quirky little way, because it was like things to do this weekend, next week, and snowball in hell, which is like, this probably is not getting done. And I liked it, so I pretty much just kept it to kind of jot things down that I needed to do as the week went by. People, it's too much. There's just too much going on right here. And I came into this year starting off doing the same thing. I went to Target and I picked up this little journal here. Well, and you know, it's just a typical weekly, monthly planner with the standard. I'm like, why am I doing this again? This is not going to work for me. And I said, you know what? I need to come up with some kind of idea, some kind of framework where I can plan, because I do a lot of planning. My people ask me all the time how I get so much things done. You know, I'm a single mother. I have to take care of my son. I have to take care of myself. I work a full-time job from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 8 in the morning until 8 at night. And then I also have the podcast and the YouTube and, you know, all this other stuff going on. And the only way I get through it all is my days are very planned and scheduled. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing at a certain time. This and the pile of books, though, was not cutting it for me. And sometimes I think that YouTube or Google is kind of psychic, or like they're listening on my conversations or something, because I was going through my YouTube, just looking at the recommended stuff, and, you know, I saw a little video for bullet journal, and I was like, hold up, bullet journal. I remember this bullet journal thing because I had come across it a while ago. I mean, maybe like a year or two, and I never implemented it. And I clicked on the video and I was like, woo, there it goes. This is absolutely what I need to do. And it kind of irked me because I kind of saw the video a couple days after the beginning of the year, so I'm not starting the year fresh with the bullet journal. I have been just gathering pretty much, you know, all the different things that I need to do. This is how I started off the year. This is my calendar. I'm gonna hold it upside, well, anyway, whatever. This is the calendar, right? This is not working because I said I just can't do little standard weekly, monthly planner. I am going to attempt the bullet journal, and what I'm going to do is, this is a little book that I had wrapped. I showed you guys in a video how to wrap the book. It was a journal that I actually picked up from Michaels, but I am going to turn this into my bullet journal. And it's not like a moleskin. It doesn't have the elastic thing on it, and I'm such a doofus because I actually could have, you know, created this thing with the elastic, but I'm just not even going to worry about it now. I am going to set up this book as a bullet journal, and the next video I'm going to show you exactly what that setup looks like and how to basically walk through setting up your own bullet journal, especially if you're a creative person like me and you just have so much going on and the days aren't all standard and you need a little bit more space than the typical day, week, month, year. All right, so that's what's gonna happen next time. And as always, thank you so much for being with me. You guys know I appreciate your time and your presence, and I am sending out so much love to you wherever it is you are in the world. And I wanted to share my t-shirt with you guys. I hope you can you see it? That's my Atari t-shirt. I love it so much because I am classically trained, right? Anyway, so thank you so much, and listen out for the podcast episode. Definitely check out the last one if you haven't before, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.